left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world that keeps the sky in mind. Get on board. We're smiling on top of the
Hello, welcome to Revive Hi-Fi Canada, and our latest episode is a amp feature. It is the Marantz PM6006. This is one of my favorite amps that I own, so I'm very excited to talk about it. This amp is the Marantz PM6006. It is a 45 watt per channel into 8 ohms amp. As you can see on the front, it's got the bass, treble, and the balance knobs. It's got it's a pretty good, I would say the build quality is pretty good on this. It's got the nice knobs, as I mentioned. I do appreciate amps that have not the knob in the middle. I know some people like the knob in the middle. I'm not a big fan of the knob in the middle, so I do appreciate that these have the knobs on the left and the right side and the small knobs in the middle for tone adjustment. It also has a loudness button. It has two speaker connections, two sets of connections for two sets, so you can run a second set of speakers off of the Marantz. It's actually for a 45 watt per channel amp. It has, all Marantz products that I've dealt with have extremely good build quality. So this one weighs in about 17 pounds. So it's not a super heavy amp like the Yamaha. I'll talk more about them together on a future video. But there are a lot of nice, this has half the power, so it's at 45 watts. It's 60 watts into 4 ohms. It has 4 ohm capability, of course. One thing that's really cool about this Marantz, it's got a Cirrus Logic DAC built in with both optical and coaxial. I typically use the coaxial connector to the DAC that's built into the amp, and that's really nice to have a built-in DAC. So if you've got a CD player that you want to connect digitally and use the DAC that's in the receiver to do that conversion of the digital to audio to analog, it'll do that for you, and that's quite nice. The Marantz has a toroidal type of transformer, power transformer. Supposedly, I've had a few toroidals. The Cayenne amp that I have is a toroidal transformer. This Marantz is also a toroidal transformer. Supposedly these give you cleaner playback. It also helps you deal with bigger speaker loads, so if the speaker draws more current The toroidal transformer supposedly can deal with that more effectively, but I've had really good regular EI transformers and they are just fine. EL transformers, those are just fine. Also, it also has something called hyperdynamic amplifier modules, an HDAM, and current feedback amplification for accuracy and control under high drive conditions. It's what I can say. It's pretty good, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. It's got a direct mode, so you can turn off the tone control circuits. It has a nice group of RCA inputs, 5 stereo audio inputs, including a phono stage. And the phono stage on this amplifier might be the best phono stage I have ever heard, ranging from my old Sansuis all the way up to some of the new things that I have now. But I love the phono stage on this Marantz. It is something else. I would say that when I play my Cambridge Audio CP2 phono stage, phono preamp with this through the Marantz versus just using the Marantz onboard phono stage, it's almost the same. The only thing is that there's a subsonic filter that I appreciate that I use on the Cambridge Audio, so I usually use that when I'm playing vinyl, but there's no real sound loss or in terms of quality. There's not really much there in difference between the quality. There's nice gold binding posts on the back. It's got 3 rear panel AC outlets. It has a frequency response of 10 Hertz to 70,000 Hertz, which is way beyond what our ear can hear, up to 20,000 Hertz. And it comes with a remote. It's got a detachable cord. It's a really nice machine, I would say. When it comes to sound, I use these with my Monitor Audio Silver 107Gs most frequently, and I like that combination. The Marantz and the Monitor Audio, it just goes together so nice. I hear every little sound. This amp brings out, it's got a lot of punch. I find it's not a soft, kind of soft, warmy sound. It's got a lot of bass, but it's also got a lot of punch. It's got a sparkly highs, and it's got a more upfront, in your face type of sound, and I appreciate it. It's pretty good. I don't ever find that it's boring. It's got some. It's different than my Marantz SR4023 and SR4021 receivers, stereo receivers that I had before. I would say it sounds clearer than those, and at least in my opinion, it sounds very, very clear. It's got it's got a really nice sound to it. It's got I do like that, considering it's only 45 watts, I never really feel like it's underpowered. At least in, I use it, this is a pretty big room here, but I also use it in a small room a lot. It's a nice piece of equipment, definitely. It has a very articulate sound, I find. Like I hear very, very tiny little details, and of course the speakers play the major role, but the amplifier also, in this case, it definitely sounds different than my Yamaha, which that I featured just earlier, a couple videos ago. It sounds quite different than that. It has a more sparkling high to it, and it has a more, I would say, boomy, well, not boomy. I would say a high quality bass, but a lot of it. So it's got, considering it's 45 watts into 8 ohms, as its rating, it definitely sounds very powerful, I would say. So that's pretty much, I mean, it projects, it helps your speakers sound very large, I would say. So the sound stage is very large when you have these connected. There doesn't feel like there's a lack of power there. So, and you hear every little instrument, you hear all of the little details whenever I hook these up to different speakers. So it does a pretty great job. So that's all I really got to say about the Marantz PM6006. It is definitely a keeper, I would say. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time on Revive Hi-Fi Canada. Bye now.